When it comes to fighting corruption in India, the government was meant to have an ultimate weapon, the Lokpal. We're talking about an institution with the power to hold the highest offices in the land accountable. But here's the thing. More than a decade after it was created, a lot of people are asking a pretty tough question. Is this powerful watchdog actually doing its job, or is it being kept on a very, very short leash?
Okay, so let's quickly break down what the Lokpal is. Put simply, it's an independent body set up by law back in 2013. Its whole job, its entire reason for being, is to investigate corruption allegations against public officials. The goal, to make sure that absolutely no one is above the law. It was supposed to be the people's watchdog.
And that right there is the central issue, isn't it? The idea of the Lokpal was massive, but its actual performance has come under some serious fire. In fact, a recent report from a parliamentary standing committee is shining a huge spotlight on the gap between what the Lokpal was supposed to be and what it actually is today. So let's dig into what they found.
Now, to really get why this is such a big deal, you first have to understand the original design. I mean, when they wrote the Lokpal Act, they gave this institution a truly incredible amount of power. The blueprint was for a seriously formidable anti-corruption body. Just look at the sheer scope of who they can investigate. This is what made it so unique. We're not talking about just going after some low-level officials. The Lokpal's jurisdiction covers everyone from Group D central government employees all the way up to union ministers, members of parliament, and yes, even the prime minister, though there are some exceptions for things like national security. This kind of reach was absolutely unprecedented. So who gets to wield all this power? Well, the institution is headed by a chairperson and up to 8 other members. And get this, they're chosen by a super high-level selection committee. We're talking the prime minister, the speaker of the Lok Sabha, the leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. The thinking was pretty clear. You get these top people together to make sure that only the most credible and independent individuals would be in charge.
And they were not messing around when it came to ensuring that independence. The rules for who can even be considered are incredibly strict. The chairperson, for example, has to be a former Chief Justice or Supreme Court judge. Members need a minimum of 25 years of experience in areas like anti-corruption policy or public administration. And here's the kicker. If you're a member of parliament or have any political party ties, you are out. It was built from the ground up to be impartial.
So you've got this amazing blueprint for a super powerful independent watchdog, which brings us back to that big question. Why is a parliamentary committee asking why it's not working? Well, this is where we get our reality check, where that powerful design runs headfirst into some major operational problems. And this right here is probably the most crucial point. The Lokpal Act says the institution needs 2 key departments to function: an inquiry wing to do the actual investigating, and a prosecution wing to take the guilty parties to court. But what's the reality today? The inquiry wing technically exists on paper, but it's not really functional because the rules for how it operates are still pending. And the prosecution wing, well, its creation has been put on hold completely, with the reason given being a low volume of cases. It's like having a guard dog that you've told not to bark or bite.
Okay, let's follow the money, because this is pretty telling. At a quick glance, this chart might not seem too alarming. For the 2024-25 financial year, the Lokpal used almost 85% of its budget. But that little slice of unutilized funds, that's where the real story is. Yeah, that little 15% translates to over 10 crore rupees. Just sitting there, unspent. And look, this isn't a situation where the Lokpal doesn't have enough money. It's a case of it being unable to spend the money it's been given. And a big reason for that is because its main operational arms just aren't fully up and running. The money's there, but the ability to use it effectively isn't.
And you know, the problems don't stop there. The system has other major gaps. There are no dedicated special courts to fast-track Lokpal cases, so things just get bogged down. There's a 7-year time limit on filing a complaint, which means any corruption older than that, you can't touch it. Government departments are often slow to hand over information. And oh, by the way, the entire judiciary is completely outside of the Lokpal's reach.
But it's not all doom and gloom. After laying out all these problems, the conversation is thankfully now shifting to solutions. That very same parliamentary committee that highlighted all the issues has also laid out a clear path forward for how to strengthen the Lokpal and help it finally live up to its promise. The committee's recommendations are super direct and actionable. First, get those inquiry and prosecution wings fully operational, and do it within 6 months. Second, set up at least one special court in Delhi to make sure trials actually get finished within the 1-year legal deadline. Third, enforce fixed timelines so officials can't just delay things forever.
And finally, get with the times. Use modern digital platforms, even AI, to manage all this data securely and efficiently.
So when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, you see this huge tension, right? The Lokpal was designed with the strength of a lion, but all these operational delays and procedural gaps have essentially kept it in a cage. The roadmap to fix it is clear, but it brings us back to one final critical question. Can a watchdog, no matter how powerful it was designed to be, ever truly be effective if it isn't given the freedom to actually run?